Morning. I've had this thing shut down for 48 hours. And when I say this thing, I mean I haven't turned this on for 48 hours. I've been in my own world, and I want to talk about that world because it's not this world. It's funny. This world we live in is affected. We are in the algorithm. Whether that's on Instagram or watching the news cycles, we're sucked into the drama of it all. I just don't allow myself to do that. I don't watch the news. I haven't had the freaking news in my house in 2 decades. I don't allow it. It's not healthy. Where news used to be independent and now pits folks against one another. I don't like it, and so I don't watch it. And at the same time, you could say that you only see what you allow yourself to see. As individuals, we only see what we allow ourselves to see. And that can be really dangerous too. So discernment around what you're listening to and why and where it's coming from and knowing the sources, like that's really important. I'm so stoked that there's so much independent media now. I mean, that's where the next generation is getting all their information, is from YouTube and independent sources on YouTube and podcasts and audio books, and like knowledge is so free and it's just incredible. Like the fact of the matter is when I was growing up, you could go to the library and I used to check out art books. Books on artists, painters, painting books. And of course I went to school as an art major to college, but there would be like 5 books. Like I didn't have access to any information back then. And now it's all available, and separating the truth from the lies, and honest works, even literary works, or let's say information, from propaganda, is important in this day and age, because there's just as much good information out there as there is bad information. And so you only see what you allow yourself to see is a real thing. But I can tell you, my worldview from 20 to 30 is completely different than 30 to 40. And it continues to change from 40 on my way to 50, at 46, like opening yourself up to real conversations, to uncomfortable conversations, to listening and versus judging everything. I know it's served me really, really well in my growth as an entrepreneur, because you work with so many types of people. And as a father, and as a peer, and as a friend. So I guess that's called like trying to stay open-minded. I think we all think we are open-minded. I think that statement is loaded with whatever worldview we have, because as individuals we only see what we allow ourselves to see, whether it's subconscious or not. It's just a fact, because it's uncomfortable to do anything except for that. But I think that's one of the greatest gifts, is that there is opinions and ideas and knowledge out there, and it's all worth seeking and learning from. But it can be very hard sometimes. It's hard when we are set in our ways. And when, in a way, we're all set in our ways. And so I like to pull myself out of this world. And I'm going to share a little something with you that only a few people know about me. But it's important in my life. I'm a prolific writer, and I'm working on my third novel, and I haven't published any of them yet. I just have them sitting off to the side waiting for I might never publish them. If I do, they'll probably be under a pen name anyway, so no one would ever know it was me. They're like 60 to 70,000 word novels. And the reason I love writing and why it's a reset for me, and for the past 48 hours, I haven't thought about business. I've literally shut it down, and I've taken my mind out of this world that we're in, and I've put it in a different world. And I love this about writing because in writing, you're world building. You're building characters, you're building scenes and story and interaction. And it's also therapeutic for me as an entrepreneur because, I have thousands of interactions every single week. And over the years, probably well over 1,000 employees too. And in writing, what you're doing is you're pulling bits and pieces of your experiential knowledge, little bits of situations, conversations you've had, interactions you've had, things you've seen, and you're applying them to characters, to scenes, to storylines. You're applying these things in writing. And for me, that's like a really wonderful thing because it forces me to not only see what I allow myself to see. It forces me out of that. And to take pause and to take a beat. And by reflecting on a conversation I had 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or a situation, and I pull a little piece out of that and I apply it to a scene or to a character. And as a writer, you're kind of all knowing. Even if you're writing in the first person, there's this omniscience, I guess would be, so you're like all knowing. You serve as the creator for whatever this work is. And as a creator, you can't just look at one person's perspective. You have to look at the other person's perspective. You have to look at the situation holistically. You have to feel what they're feeling. You have to feel the disgust. You have to feel the love. You have to feel the temperature. The small room with the wallpaper peeling and the tick of the heat register, and the table's rocking because it's not even, and the smell in the air, and so you have to put yourself in the situation, and so writing for me has been a huge blessing because it helps me engage in life, this world, this physical world that I live in, and then there's this world that doesn't exist, and it only exists up here and then on paper, and it's wonderful to leave this world, even for me if it's just on occasion, if it's for an hour a night or once a week for a couple of hours, or this weekend because I shut it down. I'm getting refreshed after a very long 8 months, and we just wrapped camp in the first week back at work, and we got to go, and I love that. I love that energy, but I also need that reset, just like every other human. And let me tell you, everybody, I don't care who they are or how hard they go, everyone needs a reset. I don't get it on vacation. I'm still working on vacation, and I only do it when I get solitary. No one's around. It's just me and words. That's it. It's just me and words. It's funny because I know this about like ADHD and neurodivergence. You can get really focused on something and really dialed into something. And it's never for me been able to read, right? So even the craft of writing was really difficult to learn. Gaining the knowledge about craft. My first novel was just really, really bad from a craft perspective. Really great story, but really bad from a craft perspective. And my editor, she really helped me understand about craft, and she gave me reference materials and short books to read, like little helper books versus big thick books. And so it's been a wonderful therapeutic exercise of writing. I challenge you to try writing. I think you learn about yourself, and because we only see what we allow ourselves to see, writing takes you out of that world that you live in and that you're physically in, and it allows you to go into a different world that you have to build. And it forces you to look at every angle. It forces you to look inside every person or every character you're building, and what drives them, what motivates them, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. It really forces you to think from a omniscient perspective, all-knowing perspective. And when I come out of that world, my fake world, and back into the real world, my worldview has changed. And think about that for a second. It's pretty crazy. Why? Because you have to understand people in the world you're building, and therefore you have to understand people in the world you live in. So as an entrepreneur and building brands, again, for me it's building two brands simultaneously, two sizable brands, working with two different teams, two different supply chains, two different strategies. I would have to jump left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. Sometimes every multiple times an hour, you could say. And so you're training your mind also to be tough. I don't know if there's a better word for it. Creative. In situations, you look at people and you try to figure out what their motivations are, how to best engage them, and your approach becomes more about them than about you. And that's a big thing in leadership. If your approach is about you, it's a real problem. That can be a real problem. If the approach is about you or them and not the situation, if there's emotion tied to it and you don't unpack why before engaging, that's a real problem. And so I just see so many parallels to writing and world building, and then living in the real world and trying to be a solid human being in the real world. At some point, I may publish one of these things. I don't know. Right now, they're for me. I sound like a freaking artist when I say that. It's so lame. Right now, they're for me. But they are. And and it's going to stay that way for a bit. And if I ever, like I said, if I ever publish one of these novels, then I will probably do it under a pen name. But I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get back to writing. Again, this is the third novel. I can tell you it's a forced proximity romance thriller is what it is. It's a forced proximity romance thriller that takes place during the Vietnam era, and it takes place in the northern wilds of Maine is where a lot of it happens. So I'm building the world. I think I'm like 30 or 40,000 words into it, and it's been this project has been like a year long, maybe a year and a half at this point, because I can only detach from life, 2 or 3 times for a year, like really detach from life, and get into world building. So thoughts this very early morning, some thoughts. Peace.